Hello everyone, welcome to Apollo School Online. This is a drawing that we're gonna do for today, and let's see what kind of tool you need for this class. Are you ready? Let's begin. Okay, today we're gonna do the watercolor. Alright, so don't worry about the water, don't worry about the color for now. We just want to do the pencil outline at the beginning. Alright, so first of all, we have to check out our paper. You must have the watercolor paper. That's a special paper for the watercolor. So you will see watercolor on the cover. Alright, and remember the mixed media paper. We can do the dry media work on the mixed media paper, and we also can do some light watercolor on the mixed media paper. Alright, so either one, watercolor papers or mixed media paper. So can we use the printing paper for this time? No, we couldn't, alright, because that's too thin, and when we apply the water on the paper, it will be red. Alright, so no printing paper. Only watercolor paper and mixed media paper. Alright, so we don't need to worry about the watercolor and the brushes. For now, you only need to have a pencils, because we're gonna do the outlines, and erasers, the sharpeners in case. So how about the tracing markers? We can keep that at the end. If you can't make the color look clean, you can make the color stay inside, then we can trace after the joints. Alright, same thing, we need to have two different sizes of the markers. Alright, even we might not use it, but we will see. Alright, the thin one and the thick one. Alright, so make sure you have the right papers. And we can start. Alright, so today we're gonna design our own pumpkin. It doesn't have to be the jack-o'-lanterns, it could be anything else. Something you like to put on the pumpkin. Alright, so we have to start to do our pumpkin. Same thing, I'm gonna borrow the fingers. Alright, so 1, 2, 3 fingers first. Place at the middle. Alright, not below, at the center of the papers. Alright, right and left, a point beside the fingers. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so now I want to do a big upside down letter U. And another one at the bottom. Alright, so 3 more fingers on the side again. A dot and a dot. Alright, so we have a mini sausage at the middle, and we have 3 more fingers on the side, 3 more fingers on the right. Alright, that's it. I have to put the points, have a small bridge, keep going up, all the way, touch the top right here. Not here. Alright everyone, check it. You are not going to join the line to here, you have to move up onto here. Same thing on the right. Keep going up, and turning, touch the side. Alright, we're gonna do the same thing at the bottom as well. From the point, keep moving down, do a small curve, and touch the middle sausage. Alright, and from the point, keep going down, touch the side of the bottom here. Alright, it's close to the pumpkin, but it more looks like the green peppers, right? Or the sweet peppers. It doesn't like the pumpkin yet. So now it was 3 fingers at the middle, 3 fingers on the side. Now 2 fingers. That's it. 2 fingers, a point. 2 fingers, a point. Alright, same thing from the point, keep going up, touch. Same thing on the left, keep going up, and touch. Same thing on the bottoms, going down, down, and touch. Keep going down, down, and touch. So your pumpkin will look like a flat rectangle. It doesn't look skinny. Alright, don't make your pumpkin look skinny. It have to be round and fat. Alright, so now you have to check it. If you make the mistake, accidentally make the pumpkin looks too skinny, so change it. Alright, you have about a minute to fix, and don't forget to keep your paper clean. If you make the mistake, erase the pencil line and add the new ones. Alright? Alright, so we finished the pumpkin, the body, but we have to add the stem. Alright? I want you to try to do a flat oval. It's the flat oval. And now it looks like the angel's ring on the top. Alright, the oval, how big is it supposed to be? About a fingers. Right? We always use the fingers to do the measurement. So about a fingers. Alright, now we have to join the stem to the pumpkins. Diagonal lines, diagonal lines. Okay, and you do have some rough skin, right? So I'm adding some dash lines on the stem. Few of them, you don't have to add too many. Alright, so let's do the leaf. I do like the owl, not owl, the seagull. Like number 3, flat number 3. Alright, let me zoom in so you can see more. Alright, like the seagull, the wing, like the small letter M but flat. Alright, so in between, alright, I want to do like a heart. So it should be looks like the heart, but I breaking it. So the bottom here has to be pointed. Alright, then I can join the leaf, a curve, close it, and add the middle lines. The wrinkles. Alright, then I can put the stand, the rolling stand going back to touch the pumpkins. Alright, so now it looks boring. It's just a pumpkin. So now I want to start to think about what kind of thing you want to decorate. Maybe you want to put the face like the jack-o'-lanterns, but if you don't want to, you can put a bunch of the pattern, the flowers, the spider webs, doesn't matter. Alright, I want you to focus on the decorate on the pumpkins. Alright, it doesn't has to be a face. It could be anything. Something you feel is pretty and you can place on the pumpkins. Alright, so now you can begin to decorate your pumpkins. Alright, so we finished the pumpkin, then you can start to add in the decorations around. You can add in the spider web, you can add even more leaf, you can add another baby pumpkin beside it, or you can add some spiders, or the bed, or the moon, or you place the pumpkin on the stair. Alright, so now you can start to think about the background, so don't limit yourself. It doesn't have to be for Halloween. Okay, it could be something pretty, just like the fall decorations. Alright? Alright, so I have my pumpkin, my jack-o'-lanterns. I add in the flowers. Okay, I add in the spider webs on top. So that's my background. So also my drawing looks complete. It doesn't look boring and empty, right? Okay, so for the next step, we're gonna do the tracing, right? And make sure you are using the permanent markers, so it has to be waterproof. Okay, so you have to see there has the wording like this, the permanent markers. Alright, if you don't have it and you only have the regular markers, you can do the color and tracing after. Alright, if you do have the waterproof marker, you can use that now. Okay, and the thick one and the needle one for it. Okay, the big one for big areas, the small one for something small like the decorations. Alright, so now you can start to do the tracing. Alright, so don't forget, after tracing, you have to grab your erasers to remove the pencil line from your paper. Okay, before we start to do the color, we always keep our paper clean and neat, nothing messy, nothing extra. Alright, so erase them properly, no white space. Be careful, be gentle, don't break your papers. Alright, so we can see what do we need for the next step. Alright, let's check the tools all together. Okay, so after we done the pencil outline for our watercolors, okay, so let's see the tools that we need to use for the coloring. Okay, first of all, we are not using the pencil to do the color, we need to use the brush. So make sure the brush is very soft, okay? If you have the brush like the grass, very dry and very hard, that is not for the watercolor, that's for painting. Alright, so make sure your watercolor brush is correct. It has to be soft. Alright, so I need to have a big one, the middle one, and the teeny tiny one for the small area. Alright, so that's the brushes. Of course, we need to have the water, and I would suggest that you can have 2 containers for the water, and make sure they are the cool water. Why we need 2? One for washing, one for apply on the watercolors. Okay, so we can keep the one of them looks always clean, and one for washing the dirty colors. Alright, so it's better to have 2. Alright, and we also need to have the towel. Alright, so this is the fabric ones. I can reuse it all the time, so that's my watercolor. So you can see how dirty is it. Okay, and if you don't have the towel just for watercolor, you can have your paper napkin, but better to have the one that you can reuse it. Alright, so we don't waste anything. Alright, so of course you need to have the color. If sometimes the color looks like to the tube like this, you can scratch on the tray that you need. Alright, so that's a container for my watercolors. And we need to mix the color or create the color, so you need to have a plate or a tray. Okay, so we always mix the color on the tray and the plate, so make sure you have the plate for that. Okay, alright, so that's it, you have everything. Brushes with different sizes, water, colors, towels, and the tray. Alright, when you're ready, then we can start to do the colors. Alright, so same thing, we're gonna start with something big. Alright, so you can choose any color you want. The pumpkin could be any color. Alright, I'm the old-fashioned people, so I'm gonna use the orange. But I feel like my orange is too bright, too yellowish. I want my orange a little bit darker. So I'm gonna add in a little bit darker red, a little bit red on the side, so I can mix them together. Alright, but what if you don't have the orange, but you don't want to use another colors? Then you can find your yellow and red and mix them together, and you got the orange. Alright, if you don't have the orange, yellow and red will be the best choice to create the orange. Alright, so same thing. Before I apply the color, I'm not just grab the color into my paper, right? Because that is not the watercolor. We need the water. Apply on the tray. See, you see the water. Alright, I'm adding a little bit light orange in it. I'm adding the red and mix them. See, my orange color getting darker. So I have to start to find my colors until the color looks like what I want. Okay, but you have to make sure it's liquid, like the water, like the juice. Okay, nothing sticky. Alright, so when we start to do the color, I'm the right hand user, so I start to color on the left, so my hand is not going to accidentally stamp on it. Okay, so I start to color on the left. I trace around very gently. I try to keep the color stay inside. Alright, I know all the color will look like the same, but I still one column at a time. I'm not greedy. Alright, so that's my first column. Alright, and I want my second column looks a little bit darker, so I adding more red into the orange, and that's it. I have a little bit darker orange on the side, right? So I can make the color look different. More fun, more fancy. Alright, so same thing. If you don't want the picture looks plain and boring and too much orange, you can change the color tones from the orange. You can add in a little bit yellow, make the orange looks brighter. You can add in a little bit red, make the orange looks darker. So your orange will have different value, right? I have the yellow one and I have the red one. Okay, so now you can begin to color your pumpkins. All right, not the background. That's focus on the pumpkin first. All right, so you can begin. Alright, so my pumpkin is still very wet. So I'm not going to color anything on my pumpkin because the color gonna be blurred together. They're gonna mix together because they're still wet. The water will bring the color cross over the shape. Alright, so now I have to be patient. Alright, so all I can do, I can color the leaf because my leaf is not touching the pumpkins, right? And I also can do, so let me prepare the greens. And I also can prepare to color the stem on the top because that is not touching the pumpkin as well. But I'm adding the green into the orange a little bit, so I got the brown colors. So I can color on the top. See? Orange plus green, then you got brown. Alright, so as I mentioned, I can also color my leaf color, mix with the water, make sure they are mixing properly, and I can color my leaf. Alright, so the watercolor is all about the patience, right? We have to wait the water is totally dry so we can color the one next to it. Alright, so don't be rushed. Sometimes we have to wait. Alright, so sometimes we have to wait. So if you are doing the jack-o'-lanterns, what color to color inside the eye, inside the mouth? So here has two situations. If you have a candle inside the lanterns, inside will be yellow because bright is the light. If you don't have the candle, then you can color them in black. But you have to use the black color at the end of the joint. So if you have anything need to color with the black color, please wait until the end. When you finish all the coloring, then the black color will be used for your eyes or something else. Alright, so make sure the black color is the last color you use for the watercolor. Alright? Okay, so now look around. Something dry, then you can start to color them. And don't forget, you have to switch the brushes all the time. Alright? I'm not going to use my big brush to color my small nose or inside the mouth. I'm gonna switch the brush to the small one to color small area. Alright? Alright, so remember I mentioned if you don't have candle inside the jack-o'-lanterns or your lanterns, okay, then you have to color inside with the black color. Also, the black color has to be the last color, right? So I finished all of my coloring. So now I can start to color my black color because I don't need to color the other anyway. Okay, so the black color will be my last color. Same thing, I need to mix it with the with the water. It's a watercolor, so make sure you mix it with the water. All right. So because this is the last color, so I have to be even more careful. Especially the black color is the darkest color. So we don't want to ruin our drawing, right? So I have to be even more careful. I have to be even more careful and be careful with my hands. I'm not going to touch the black and accidentally get the black prints on my drawing. So in that color, I have to be very, very careful. Slow. Make sure you have enough water. Don't make your color look sticky. Especially the corner, you have to be slow down so you don't accidentally color out of the shape that you made. Alright, and let's see how can I do the shadow right below. I use the black color and make sure I mix the water properly and do the shadow below. See, I just trace at the bottom. Alright, then wash my brush, dry my brush. Okay, I brush at the bottom to bring the shadow down so I can blend in the water. One more time, wash my brush, dry my brush, and bring the color down. Alright, so that's my shadow. Alright, so when you finish, then you can find a spot. Be careful your hand because paper is not really dry yet. Sign the name and write down the date. And see you next time.